wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, we are from Group 3. We want to present our material for today. It's about intercultural communicative competence in English language classroom. But before that, let us introduce ourselves. My name is Mutiara Bintang, with number student is E1D 0222123.
My name is Nurkhalizah, with student number E1D 022130.
My name is Nazila Umami with student ID E1D 0222126.
My name is Mutiara Deswita and my student number is E1D 22219.
My name is Firmansyah, student number E1D 02214.
My name is Nanda Afifa. My student number is E1D 022125.
My name is Kadek. My student number is E1D 02221.
My name is Farizi with student number E1D 0221112.
My name is Dzaky. My student number is E1D 02216.
Okay, let's start our materials.
Okay, I will explain about the introduction of our material. The development of intercultural communicative competence has becoming a crucial issue in teaching the English language. Teachers are becoming aware of their teaching professions about the main goal of language teaching is to enable learners to communicate and interact effectively with people from diverse cultural backgrounds. In this regard, Lazar claims that intercultural communicative competence can be enhanced through different means such as speaking with members of various cultural backgrounds and using textbooks, media, documentaries, and movies. However, in the Nepalese context, learners have limited opportunities to speak with native speakers. Hence, in such case, teachers can use instructional materials such as songs, videos, movies, and very often communicative textbooks in their classes, as these are one of the effective techniques for developing intercultural communicative competence of English language learners. Teaching language refers to teaching culture, and it aims to develop intercultural competence in the students of the English language. Intercultural communication is the mediation of cultural differences between social groups through verbal or non-verbal interaction. In our Nepalese context, most of students belong to diverse cultural backgrounds. Similarly, Padi defines culture as the characteristics and knowledge of a particular group of people, represented by everything from language, religion, cuisine, social habits, music, and arts. We cannot separate language and culture with each other. It is crucial for English teachers and their classrooms to be aware of the differences in communication between learners and teachers, because most of the students belong to different cultures and need to be understood by each other. Intercultural communication defines a situation of communication that occurred between two or more than two cultures, and those people differ in cultural background. Thank you. Next material will be explained by Fikri Firmansyah. Thank you.
Okay, so now I will explain you about the significance of incorporating cross-cultural knowledge and awareness in English language classroom. So this helps students learn about different cultures, enhance their intercultural communication skills, and help teachers address the social and cultural differences between students' native language and the language they are learning. For example, like happen in Nepal, the challenges faced by teachers due to the lack of diverse cross-cultural context and the importance of integrating language, culture, and literary texts to foster intercultural communicative competence. Okay, that's all from me. The next material will be explained by Nurkhalizah.
Okay, I will continue explain from my friends. English language teaching role different literary texts entails cultural elements that help learners achieve the ability of ICC and enhance their effective communication skills. Talking about the rationale of this study, most of the Nepalese English language classroom consists of students from various socio-cultural backgrounds. Here, learners' socio-cultural context influence the way of interaction and classroom communication. In this regard, fostering intercultural communicative competency of English language learners is widely and keenly desired for teachers and researchers, and more specifically, English teachers. Next. Learning a language is learning the culture of its people. English language teachers need to know the cultural context and the social issues of their students. The grammar translation method, which emphasizes linguistic competency, neglects student cultural issues in the Nepalese classroom context. For Byram and Nanda, cultural competency has been often ignored in English language classroom because language teaching has been influenced by the study of grammatical forms. It is also the fact that our English language learners have limited opportunity to speak with native speakers. Therefore, the term intercultural communication is a new age subject which has a close relationship with English teaching. As an English teacher, he or she shall undertake the new mission, combine the language teaching with culture teaching, and develop students' intercultural communicative competency. Integrating culture into English language teaching is an area in language research that attract the attention of many scholars and researchers. That's all from me, and will be continued by my friends Farid.
Okay, I will continue about the theoretical frameworks. The first is existing when communicative competence could not address culture aspect. ICC is taken as the speaker's ability to interact effectively with people from other cultures that they are known to be different from their culture. Therefore, ICC is the ability to cope with one culture aspect in interaction with others. Here, almost all English classroom consists of students who come from diverse communities. They interact and communicate differently based on their language. And the next is language and culture are interconnected. With language an inseparable part of culture, intercultural communicative competence involves identifying culture issues explored through real language teachers, so facilitate learners to deal with cultural meanings and tools from the settings. Authentic literary texts such as poems, short stories, novels, and essays offer opportunities for developing intercultural community competence. Okay, next presentation will be explained will be Nanti.
Okay, so the next matter is about literary text as a means to develop intercultural communicative competence. The first one is to provide context and representation of different cultures. That means by reading lots of literary texts such as poetry or short stories, we can see the various cultures that the authors are trying to convey. For example, when reading a poem, perhaps the writer includes the culture of a country country in the full, so the reader can know and understand what the culture of the country is like. So the second one is open students' minds to cross-cultural experiences. Open students' minds to cross-cultural experiences is literary text can also open students' mind that the culture of one place is different from other cultures. For example, from a short story, we can gain experience of other cultures, from how country A greets and how country B greets. It's different, right? And next. Okay, the third is enhance the language learning process as learners negotiate meaning by reading different languages from different texts. That means from literary text, we can also learn that the language in one text is different from another text, but has the same meaning. And the last one is develop intercultural awareness. By frequently reading literary text, students can appreciate each diverse culture and accept that each place has its own culture. Okay, the next material will be explained by Mutiara Bintang.
Okay guys, I will explain about the methodology. So the paper employs a qualitative research approach to investigate intercultural communicative competence in classroom setting. It runs upon Danzin and Lincoln definition. They define qualitative research is multi-methodic which goes for subjective and multiple realities based on experience, cultures, and context. And they study analyze the lived experience of teachers in Kathmandu district who have taught English for over a decade. Interviews and open-in-depth questions were used to gather data on intercultural communicative competence, multicultural literature, and teaching practice. Next. Okay, there are the questions that will be asked to participants. The first one is, what do you think is intercultural communicative competence or communication? Have you found any authentic literary text in your course? Are you familiar with the term multicultural literature, cross-cultural context? How is your experience teaching multicultural or intercultural literary text? How important do you think it's necessary to develop your students' ICC? Does the course you teach contain diverse culture-related literary texts? And the last is, what other texts do you think should be included in the course you teach? And the next material will be explained by Nazila Umami.
Okay, I will explain about student understanding of intercultural communicative. The first one is cultural awareness, recognizing and respecting different cultures, values, and norms. This refers to the ability to acknowledge and appreciate the existence of various cultures, their unique values, and social norms. It involves being open-minded and non-judgmental towards different cultural backgrounds. So the second one is effective communication, developing skills to interact and communicate with people from diverse backgrounds in a respectful and meaningful way. This involves acquiring the skills and knowledge needed to interact with individuals from diverse cultural backgrounds. It emphasizes the importance of respectful and meaningful communication, considering cultural differences to avoid misunderstandings and promote positive interaction. Okay, next material will be explained by Deswita.
Okay, I will explain about places of literary text in our textbooks. English textbook in Nepal try to teach students about other people's culture and respect them in an interesting way. However, since English is not the native language of students in Nepal, the selection of foreign literary texts can be difficult, but the teachers, they are use special strategies to help students understand the text. Initially, students may find it difficult as there are many words they have never heard before. but by practicing reading poems, short stories, plays, dialogues, and essay, they begin to feel more comfortable. More importantly, the teacher consider it important for students to be able to communicate well across cultures, especially for students who speak several languages and have diverse cultural background. Okay, maybe that's all. And the next material will be explained by Anggi. Next slide.
Okay, last material will be explained by myself. This research develops intercultural communicative competence with literary text and becomes a bilingual and multilingual speaker. Literary texts are the main source of developing students' intercultural abilities by discussing more local cultural issues. The English curriculum needs to integrate more authentic texts from the learner's culture to complement the pedagogical goals of communicative competence. The students bring a multicultural communicative culture and they learn English in different ways. In doing so, students explore and increase understanding of other cultures, where literary texts develop critical thinking and reading skills. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay guys, next, so I will explain about our criticism about the journal that we presented before. Next. Okay, the first one is that journal includes lots of researcher quotes but doesn't conclude important points and makes the material unfocused. Jadi kayak di dalam jurnal ini tuh kayak banyak banget dia tuh nyantumin kata-kata researchers gitu kayak dari ini tuh dari sini, tapi dia tuh tidak di terakhirnya tuh tidak memutuskan gitu loh. Jadi ini tuh apa gitu. Jadi dia ngambang gitu loh materinya. Ya. So next, the second point will be explained by Nazila Umami.
I will continue Nancy's explanation. The second one is incomplete citation. Mention unit 20 and 6, but provide complete publication details for proper referencing. The passage cites unit 20 and 6, but doesn't provide more context or a proper citation format. A complete citation should include the publication details. Next. So the third one is lack of specific examples. Include specific example or evidence of how literary text effectively promote intercultural communicative competence. While the passage mentions teachers' claims and interviews, it lacks specific example or evidence of how literary texts are used effectively to promote intercultural communicative competence. So the last one is absence of supporting evidence. Include concrete examples to support claims about students getting closer to other cultures and become more aware of festivals and traditions. The passage mentioned that students get closer to other cultures and are more aware of festivals and traditions, but it lacks specific example or evidence to support these claims. Providing concrete examples of how students have benefit from this practice would make the argument more convincing.
Okay guys, maybe that's all from us. Thank you very much for your attention. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.